Hello, everybody, and welcome to the July 7th Octant community meeting. Today we have a fairly short just set of status updates, and then if folks have anything for open Q&A, we'll cover that. But feel free to pull up the agenda as always and add things as we are going over them. I will go ahead and share my screen, and we can start going through some of these. Let's see. All right, that should be pretty good, I think. Okay, so I just wanted to call out that the team itself has been on kind of a bit of a reduced capacity. I was out sick recently, and we've had some folks on vacation, so I just wanted to just kind of highlight that and say, like, expect things. If you notice things were a little slow last week, expect them to maybe be a little slow this week as well. Just kind of folks are trying to recover and get back to get back from vacations and get settled in. So. Yeah, don't really have much more to add there. Just wanted to call that out. The next thing in our status update is ODOT 22 is releasing July 13th. We talked about this at the last community meeting where we were going to potentially create a ODOT, well, we were looking at creating an O21.1. Ultimately, we kind of looked at what we were going to be doing for that ODOT 21.1 and looking at what we wanted to do for planning for the actual next set of features and the next release after that, and ultimately decided that we're going to make ODOT 22 the next release we do, which it will have some API enhancements for using Octant as a library, some improvements and fixes for the TypeScript plugin and library generation, and then just a host of various bug fixes and quality of life improvements will be part of ODOT 22. And just to kind of add why we made that decision was we've been going through this process of doing some roadmap planning and updating, and we wanted to perform that exercise as a team, and then also take some time to create some issues and or update some of our documents to reflect the outcomes of that. So we haven't quite reached a set of outcomes yet. So I believe there's a discussion group that will be opened or is opened to talk about roadmap items. So expect us to be kind of calling that out and having discussions there. But the goal is to create some more focused releases around a specific set of core features that will drive us to kind of this 1.0 for Octant. Yeah. Anything anyone wanted to add to that?
Only that you're right. There is a discussion open on the themes, just the top level themes, rewording them for the roadmap.
Excellent.
Yep.
Here it is right here.
Yep.
So I will pop that into here so folks can find it easy. Whoops. Great. And that was kind of it that I had for top agenda items. So I think there's two things we can do. First, we'll see if there's any other discussion points or open Q&A, and then we can use some of this time to actually maybe with the group that's here go through some of the roadmap items and add a little bit of detail as we talk about each one for folks who might be interested in engaging in that. So any either discussion points or open Q&A items that folks wanted to bring up? Okay, I'll take that as a no. Do folks want to take some time to discuss this roadmap revisiting a little bit while we're here?
why not? We have a bunch of people together.
Yeah. Okay. So roadmap for Octant is interesting. So we have a set of existing themes which we've captured in a roadmap markdown that's in our main repository. And once that actually loads here, very slow. Am I still here? Did my internet go out? What's happening? Did GitHub go out? What's going on? Okay. Well, it's there. I promise. And the goal is to kind of revisit some of those themes, mainly because we've done some of them. I guess I should say, if you if you were looking at the document, you would see that there are headings, and then underneath those headings, there's essentially intermixing of ideas and essentially tasks to be. Yeah, here it is, right here. So you can see like here's kind of like these bigger headings, and then we have headings that add a little bit more detail, and then some of these get even more fine grained and make them almost explicit tasks, whereas some of them still kind of capture a more high level objective of like the vision for Octant. And so it's kind of intermixed throughout this document, where you may be reading something and you end up with a list of tasks, or you may be reading something and end up with a list of high level, what's the vision for Octant long term. And so the goal of revisiting this roadmap was to make sure that everything in the roadmap that we're capturing is more along the lines of that vision or high level, and then letting that kind of filter into the releases and projects we create to enable executing that high level vision. So across those current themes, we have, I'm just going to kind of read it out here. Working with Kubernetes workloads, answering the question, why isn't my workload working? Extending Octant to work with any Kubernetes type. You can read that as both plugins as well as good default behavior. It's a little overloaded. And then providing better defaults, and then being a better ecosystem participant. Which it's an interesting, that last one is always, I have to go look at what we put on. I don't know. Anyway, some of them are not quite clear. As a group, we were discussing, hey, let's revisit these and decide what do those things actually mean. And so one of the examples here that was put in was answering the question, why isn't my workload working? Could be, kind of translated into provide excellent Kubernetes debugging and troubleshooting, which it evokes a more clear vision of what that might mean, right? Like, why isn't my workload working is kind of a little too open, and it's hard to really create structure and like drive towards achieving that objective. Whereas with the rewording of provide excellent Kubernetes debugging and troubleshooting, where now we know, okay, does this feature directly enable us to debug or troubleshoot? It just creates a better definition of isn't working. So that's the exercise we're looking at completing here in the discussion. And yeah, so I guess, do we want to, there's a couple of ways we could do this. We could just go through the current themes and try to create these reworded clear definitions for high-level roadmap objectives, or we could, I guess that's the only thing I can think of to do right now. Also go into details of each of the current high-level objectives and explain kind of the intent and what they mean versus how they currently are worded, or what the tasks call out might be within them. Whatever folks think would be useful.
Yeah, I'd love to get into some details of some of these points. Some of them are kind of generic, So if you could go through just a bit more detail with examples, that'd be great.
Okay. So which for you, Vikram, which one is the least clear or seems the most generic that would help?
Looking at just providing better defaults, wondering like which part or like what defaults you're talking about. Um,
Yeah, great.
okay.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So providing better defaults. There is. Can I nominate somebody to in the discussion take notes for these? Someone willing to do that?
I can do that.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah. So on the one of providing better defaults, the goal here is a couple things. One that is called out here is that to help users understand the scope of their workloads. This is the common point. So right now, if you use these set of recommended labels within your application, Octant will creates a view underneath what we call our applications view on the left hand menu, and inside that view is a grouping of your workload and all of the things that are related to it, as well as some information around CPU and memory. And so the better default when this says providing better defaults, the default is referring to is the default views within Octant that help you understand immediately how your application is configured, deployed, and the various components that are connected to it. And this goes so far as to with a go by things like, you know, this was installed with Helm, or this was installed with this tool, and this has various metadata on it that lets us infer that it can be used this way, or that it is controlled by some external controller. So that's really the main goal of providing better defaults is creating clear ways to visualize an application or workload within your cluster, and then understand how that workload is connected to the various components and resources within the cluster, because by default it's really difficult to see that, you know, these things are related, kind of an overlap with the resource viewer, but like